Good morning. Okay, I can hear, yes. I know we've called it a round table, but we have no round tables. But it's in the spirit of what we will be doing today. As they've said, my name is Moses Nderitu. I happen to be the Vice President of EMAK, and I promise I will not make any jokes that have the name Fire or Norma. Well, I am here. I'm here on behalf of Hesbon Mose, our president, who is out of the country on other duties because we all have day jobs. But I'll be brief, and I'd like to, and to the point, on why we are here and who is here and what we hope to achieve today. I think I'll just start by saying how impressive it is to see a room almost full this early in the morning. Tells you that e-mobility is growing and growing very fast. I was quite encouraged yesterday when I saw the EPRA statistics that finally we have made it to the statistics that we actually are somewhere. And that's only those of us who are on the e-mobility tariff. So if you're still using and not connected to the tariff, you don't exist in those statistics. You're actually helping other statistics. But I can tell you the fact that we are growing, and we are growing extremely fast. It's now not uncommon to see an electric vehicle on the road. I think 3 years ago when we were beginning EMAK, when you saw an electric vehicle, you got very excited. But now, especially the guys in the two-wheeler sector, I am beginning to struggle to see new ICE bikes. I'm only seeing new EV bikes, and that's very, very encouraging. Outside my office, there's a whole bunch of three-wheelers that are operating, and the courier, I think it's a courier company that has quite a number of three-wheelers, and we are seeing that happening. And then now we're beginning to see the passenger market happening with the likes of BYD, the likes of Simba Corp, with the likes of Utu, who are actually bringing vehicles. And this is happening. And now even more exciting, I've begun seeing trucks. There's a few trucks coming. So EV is here, and this EV is here to stay. When we started, a lot of you were doing proof of concept, trying to understand with the technologies you want to adopt work. But right now, a lot of you are now in that area where you want to scale. So you've gone through your prototypes, you have seen what the market wants, you've tested, and now you're looking at what is next. And maybe that's why we are here, because we are here to have this conversation of what's constraining you or what's constraining us from moving to the next level. And one of the biggest things that constrains the EV industry and other industries that are in infancy is capital. So today there'll be a lot of conversations about capital gap, where we keep being told that the money exists, that the banks are willing to lend. We are told that DFIs have the capital. There is SACCOs that have money. Operators are asking for these fleets, for these vehicles, but we are not being able to fulfill that potential or that gap that is there. So a lot of our conversations today will be about the capital gap. Is it a reality or is it a myth? Are we giving excuses and maybe there's something else bothering us, or there's something else hindering the industry? So we will have that conversation and see, do all the pieces exist? Is it information that is not available, or is it us who are is there something else that we need to be doing, even as EMAK, to see how to help you as our members and our potential members, and to also connect you to where the capital is or where the solutions are. We would like this conference to be slightly different. When it was being designed, I know a lot of conferences, we go there, we sit and we take notes and we ask, shall the slides be shared? I am hoping that we can have a very interactive conference where you're not here to just listen to the presentations. You're here to interact with the speakers, with the panels, ask those tough questions. Let's interact. Let's truly learn. Let's make this extremely an opportunity to learn from each other. I can assure you, all the knowledge and all the solutions you require are here in this room. So again, I will also say, don't just network, be purposeful. Make sure that you find those people who are in this room, either whether they'll present or even if they're just here in the audience, to ensure that you connect. And when you connect, you find the solutions that you're looking for. I'm also hoping that we can start collaborating. There's a lot of things that we are doing. There's a lot of initiatives that you are doing that are that we are able to collaborate better, and if we collaborate better, we will all move in the right directions. I am told within our midst we have banks, we have bankers, we have MFIs, we have SACCOs, and you know that's where the money is. I'm told we have representatives of P and VC funds, climate funds, and also we have fleet operators and OEMs, fintechs and policymakers. So everybody you need to get your business to the next level is in this room. So for me, it's just to say that let's use today, let's use this EMAK Roundtable for this quarter to make sure that this is the one that makes a big difference to ourselves, to our business, and to the e-mobility industry at large. It is my very great pleasure to invite you to a wonderful day of interaction and learning. And hopefully by the time you leave here, you'll have felt a lot of value has been added to yourselves and to the industry as a whole. With those very many remarks, I would just like to hand over back to our very able MC, and we shall and continue with the day's program. I have tried to keep it as short as I can so that we can catch up with time, and so that we can get you out of here at the right time, and we catch up on those on the day. With those many remarks, thank you and welcome, and have a great day.
Let me acknowledge all invited guests, people from the matatu industry, transport, all protocols observed. As you told, my name is George Musembi. I am the Chief Officer in charge of cooperatives, Nairobi County, and I'm glad to join you today. And thank you very much, the organizers, for the invitation. It's something that I did not take for granted. Just to paraphrase that, yesterday and the day before I was in Mombasa to come back and cut short my visit there. It was official, just to come and be with you. I wanted to be here on time. Came back a bit late. But all the same, let me say that what is happening today is something that is long overdue, and we need to engage more often, because when people sit together, then good things come from such kind of settings. Today, I want to talk about the role of cooperatives as enablers in matatu and taxi transport industry. Kenya's matatu and taxi sector is the heartbeat of public transport, moving millions every day and providing jobs for thousands of people. Despite its importance, the sector has long been associated with informality, disorganization, and at times indiscipline. Transport cooperatives, SACCOs, were introduced as a solution, and they have become key enablers of structure, stability, and growth in this space. Why cooperatives matter? Organization. They bring order to fragmented sector by growing individual operators into structured, legally organized units. Voice and representation. Matatu and the entire transport sector is a single, let me say, a single matatu owner or a taxi driver may struggle to influence policy, but a cooperative speaks with collective strength. Why are we saying this? Recently, we've had problems in the cooperative sector in regard to KRA issues, and KRA is in the habit of writing to individual cooperatives in terms of tax issues, and some of them are not very nice. And recently, we came together as a sector to engage KRA and to agree that any cooperative or any SACCO, not just Matatu, that gets some compliance issues or gets some demands from KRA, it will be a sector issue, and we have a team that will now be tackling that problem. They will not be approached as an individual. So you'll not cry alone in a corner. We'll put you together and we'll be able to tackle that problem together. Because when we look at tax issues, there are some people who want to read the law. They read one section and ignore another one. But just like the Bible, when you read one verse, you have to look at another verse that compares with that and see how they relate. So the law must be interpreted without leaving some sections silent. So that way, and as part of the cooperative movement, we are going to make sure that we speak with one voice. If it's an issue regarding your taxation, then we are going to take it as an industry, we are going to take it as a movement, and we are going to take your problem as our problem, and we tackle together. You will not be muzzled. Why are we doing this? We are doing this because if you go to other countries, and when it relates to taxation, when there's an issue, an organization has an issue with taxation, they are not looked at as people who are violated. They are looked at people who are growing the economy. If today you are paying 6 million in taxes per year, and your potential to grow, KRA should be able, or any other body in government, should be able to assist you or motivate you to grow so that you can be able to pay 10 million in another 2 years and provide more employment. So that's why we are saying we want to speak as a voice, not as individuals. And imagine the Matatu and transport sector who are formed into cooperatives that we are going to tackle your problems together. Let me also look at the issue of resource mobilization. Cooperatives pool resources together. That is savings, making it easier for members to access loans, buy vehicles, or upgrade their fleets. Trust and accountability. They create internal rules, codes of conduct that build discipline and professionalism. Let me now go to the role of transport cooperatives. What is it that they impact in the economy of this country? One is economic empowerment. Cooperatives in the transport sector enable access to affordable credit for vehicle acquisition, repairs, and expansion. Collective investment in fueling stations, garages, and spare parts shops, lowering operating costs. We need now to come together, speak in one voice, achieve economies of scale by negotiating as a team. And that's why we still say a Cusco type of umbrella body is still desirable for cooperative sector or the transport sector in cooperatives. And in the new law, we are going to have a sector umbrella body in the transport or Matatu sector. We are going to have an umbrella body that again is able to do advocacy, is able to negotiate, is able to push things for the sector as one. And that's where we are talking about fueling stations. We can negotiate for better prices if we come together and work as a team. We can negotiate for better spare parts prices if we come together as a team, and even quality. We're also looking at structured fare collection system, reduced daily leakages, and improved income security. We want to improve the issue of collection of fares in Matatus and taxis. If you go to other countries, like Japan, you find that this kind of things are very well automated. It is in most cases cashless, and you as an investor can be able to account for everything that is done in your investment. We're also looking at regulation and compliance. Those matatu sectors that are formed in cooperatives, we are able to help them meet compliance issues, be it NTSA, be it the county regulations where we have to allocate certain routes. That through my office, through the Office of Cooperatives, we are able to make sure that you're given priority. So we want you to come together. We want you to work as a cooperative, so that when it comes to licensing and route allocations, you don't get a problem. When it comes to NTSA issues in terms of your portal management, then you're able to get our support. The other support that we need to offer is when cooperatives undertake the exercise of AGMs, we also want to confirm who is it that is in office. That can only come from our office, so that NTSA and other agencies know which people they are supposed to operate with. And you know, in matatus, we get a lot of conflicts. Those conflicts, we need to find a way of resolving them without tearing into the membership and affecting relationship within members. I also want to talk about welfare and social protection. Cooperatives welfare funds support members during illness, bereavement, or emergencies. They also provide training on road safety, customer service, financial literacy, among others. Technology and innovation. As I said, adoption of cashless payment system for accountability, fleet tracking, and management system improve efficiency and security. Let me also talk about community and urban mobility. Route coordination reduces congestion and duplication. We want to bring in experts who can then assist us in a system whereby we are going to manage routes better, especially in a city like ours, and reduce congestion. And we have already come up with a system within the county that we are thinking, is it necessary always that about 70% of the matatus or transporters that serve Nairobi want to terminate in town? That is not sustainable. We want to find a way. Are you terminating in town because all the people you have on board are coming to work in town? Others are working in community, others are working in Langata, others are working on Thika Road, and you're coming from Jogoo Road. What is it that can be done so that your termination point doesn't have to be town? And if you remember the time of the KBS, when the transport system used to be very efficient, termination was not always in town. You would get a bus that is coming from Gong Road going all the way to Dandora, and town was less congested. So we want all those things. We also want to look at challenges that affect our people. We want to look at leadership wrangles, which have been a serious problem, weak governance, and that we want to do a lot of capacity building to people who are elected to office. We want to look at financial mismanagement. The law that is coming into effect is really going to speak about who do you have as a finance manager? Is he qualified? Is he a CPA? Does he then sign the audit? Does he own it when the auditor presents? Do they agree? So his number must be there. He must sign on that document. He must own it. Individual responsibility will be meted on that person should there be any gaps. I also want to talk about resistance by some operators to formalize and bring on board digital innovations. This is something we need to agree. Then there is the issue of negative publicity, public perception of matatus as chaotic and unsafe. This is something we must work together. The moment we agree to have discipline, then this is going to, and there are proper regulations, and we agree to follow those regulations. Then I must also, as I conclude, touch on opportunities for growth. Building cooperatives owned by taxi operators and matatus, and also coming up with apps to compete fairly. We are saying we are going to introduce digital platforms that people can be able to exchange information. Green financing, and I think that is why we are here today, and we are talking about climate change. We are talking about environmentally friendly vehicles, and we must talk about electric and low emission vehicles. So today, I think we start that discussion, and that discussion will lead us to somewhere. And I'm encouraging people who are in green financing, please come forward, let's work together. We are ready to walk the talk. We are ready to work with you. Youth and women inclusion. Matatus, taxi operators, let us work and make sure that we don't leave our women behind, we don't leave our youth, because that is the generation that will take over from us when we are not there. Partnerships, we want to establish, we want to lead a team that is able to partner, that we can bring partners on board, and we can be the linkage as government to those partners, and we can be able to bring all matatu operators, all taxi operators on board so that we can work together. What is the way forward? We want to strengthen governance, leadership training, and accountability system. We want to professionalize the sector. We want to modernize the fleets. We want to rebuild the public trust. That is our number one goal. As I close, transport cooperatives are not just about compliance. They are the agents of empowerment, order, and modernization in the matatu and taxi industry. If supported with the right policies, technology, and partnership, they can transform Kenya's transport sector into one that is safe, reliable, and globally competitive. The future of mobility in Kenya will be shaped by how well we strengthen and invest in our transport cooperatives today. I thank you and welcome you to this great partnership and event. Asante sana. God bless you.
Distinguished colleagues in the EV industry, various stakeholders, good morning. So as I was introduced, I'm Steve Onyango. I'm the treasurer for EMAK, and I'm also head up WATU, the finance function in WATU. So I have the privilege of giving a strategic brief, but please, this is not cast on stone. I would like very open dialogues and discussions, but I'll give you a strategic brief just to set the tone, for what we're going to deliberate today. So unlocking capital. I want us to delve a little bit deeper into unlocking capital, and I would like us to look at, capital gaps, barriers, and the various coordination needs that we have, right? Yeah, and as I mentioned, this is not a template. I'm looking forward, to the open thinking and all that. So our focus is not only on unlocking capital. I'd like us to look at, as I mentioned earlier, let's understand what are the gaps to unlocking this capital, what are the barriers, what are the various coordination needs that we need in order to be able to unlock capital for EVs. So a little bit of data and statistics here. So if you look at, I believe this was the International Energy Agency report, which put up around 90 billion annually that is required to finance EV uptake this decade, right? And if you further read that report, you will see that Africa accounts for a very small chunk of that, right? It attracts only a fraction of that. And if I just take you down, from the global scenario down to Kenya, you will see the likes of China have leveraged on state banks, and concessional credits to catalyze sort of like their EV adoption. If you come down to Africa, you'll be able to see the likes of South Africa Green Transport Fund, right? Which exists, but somehow, the borrowing rates within that are quite still high. So it's a bit of impeding, EV uptake. If you come even closer to East Africa, you look at Uganda and Rwanda, there are a couple of tax exemptions. I know a lot of you are familiar with the tax exemptions in Rwanda, which has made a lot of strides, in the EV industry. But financiers somehow, even with this, tax exemptions and all that, they are still hesitant, due to aspects like, residual value of EV assets, secondary market of these EV assets, as well as a lot of infrastructure uncertainty, which we are trying to sort out. And if you come to Kenya, we have serious innovators like my good friend Moses Nderitu, Basigo, Rome Electric, Ampersand, Spyro, Mazi Mobility, just to mention but a few, that have proven demand. I think Moses, somewhere I read that you guys have a queue of 500, right? Waiting to be manufactured. But still we have capital gaps, We have capital gaps around charging, battery swapping, even two-wheelers and three-wheelers, the space where Watu is. We have gaps that run into hundreds of millions, right? Now, if you look at what are the barriers to unlocking capital, and by all means, these are just some of the things I was thinking about, but I'm looking forward to many other deliberations from this forum. So one of them that is obvious is high upfront costs, right? And the fact is that EVs have a higher upfront cost. Actually, at some point, I think when we were starting this EV journey, we were at around 2x. But with a lot of R&D around this area, we've seen that cost compared to ICE or fossil fuel bikes or vehicles come to around 30-40%. And of course, if you look at the total cost of ownership, EV is much more affordable if you now start equating the fuel and the electricity and all that. But the upfront costs are high. Also, the perceived risks, I've always said that traditional banks, and my apologies if they're here, especially the financing of two-wheelers, three-wheelers, that's something that they don't want to touch even with a long pole. And I'll be sort of like taking you through, some intermediary financiers who have come in. There's a lot of policy uncertainty. We have EPRA here, we have KPLC and all that, unclear charging tariffs, duty structures and all that. Are these the barriers? That's what we're asking. Do we see sort of like coordination gaps? We've heard from SACCOs, ministries, regulators, OEMs. Are you guys, Moses, working in silos on these things, right? Now, just to delve in a little bit deeper, and I think we've heard from SACCOs, and I just wanted to highlight a bit about MFIs, which is where, Watu belongs. So especially, you guys know that for us to achieve our vision in terms of electric mobility in Kenya, I think probably 70% thereabouts will have to be two-wheelers, three-wheelers, right? Just because of their sheer numbers. And there's been an emergence of what I will say intermediary financiers who are nowadays working with banks, to provide capital. And these are the MFIs, microfinance institutions, and the buy now, pay later. And these organizations are the ones who have been able to de-risk the financing, right? Like I mentioned, there are a couple of things that traditional banks and the normal, DFIs and all these other things will find very risky. But these organizations have created models. So they've created collection systems, right? They can be able to give financing, last mile, to the border riders and all those kind of people. They have systems that ensure collection, reminders, and all those things. They have invested a lot in repossession systems, GPS-enabled immobilization, especially for EV. And by the way, for EV, the risk is less, even in terms of repo, compared to ICE bikes, and that is why some organizations like WATU, EMAK, Mogo, they actually finance EV at a lower interest rate. Yeah, so again, these institutions have also gone in and taken insurance coverage. They work a lot with telematics data, from all this EV. And this can be able to show them the trends, the repayment trends, and all those kind of things. They have very vibrant secondary markets. And for EV, it's twice the challenge, because when you repossess an EV bike, then you have the battery, which if it's battery as a service or a swap model, battery will be belonging to Ampersand or Spiro and the likes, and then the EV itself will belong to Watu, EMAK, Mogo. So again, they've created models. And of course, product quality assurance. They have warranties with reputable OEMs, which I will say that most of the OEMs are actually quite reputable. So also, as you discuss unlocking capital, please factor these MFIs and BNPLs in. Let's see, what they can do in this particular space. Okay. So there are some strategic roles, and global lessons. So, if you look at OEMs like models like Basigo and even Rome, there is the pay as you drive, right? Spiro, Ampersand, there is a battery swapping. Yeah. So what are the financing structures that we can have around this, right? So you guys try and think about that. Cooperatives, we've heard about SACCOs. SACCOs, I think, finance over 70% of Kenya's PSV sector. Again, Moses Basigo, I don't know, I've seen Embasava SACCO and all those. Do they get SACCO loans? How do they, go about it? But it's very clear that SACCOs might be fully integrated into e-mobility finance pathways, right? A few global lessons, how, coming together like this and, brainstorming and all that have sort of like created traction. So I don't know how many of you know the India's FAME scheme. So I think FAME stands for Faster Adoption and Manufacturing of EV, right? So it's a big thing, and India has made a lot of traction. So maybe you guys can also read up around this, but they've combined subsidies, concessional lending, and guarantees. And this is actually working, and you can see, the EV space growing there. Another one is the Colombia's direct foreign investment backed bus programs. So maybe the likes of Basigo, Rome, and the rest, look at this. So it reduced municipal risk exposure and accelerated fleet electrification. So coordination imperatives. This is just a suggestion again. Public-private alignment, right? Government, for example, can they provide guarantees and predictable policy? Yeah. Private sector. Are you able to, sort of like scale up innovative models, like what we've seen, the pay model by Basigo? Again, we have data and transparency. So we have the proposed e-mobility observatory. Yeah. Will it provide credit, performance, repayment data, financial needs, such as sort of like a CRB that people can, look at? We have leveraging MFIs and SACCOs. I think there's a big gap there, if you were to ask me. We should not only recognize MFIs and SACCOs as peripheral, but as central actors in this financing ecosystem. And then also we have the regional and global collaboration, yeah? So how do we secure blended finance instruments, at scale, huge ones, through Africa partnerships and global, DFIs? So my conclusion is this, and I'll read it. Kenya's e-mobility transition cannot be financed by banks alone. It requires a hybrid financing ecosystem, banks for scale, DFIs for concessional capital, SACCO for cooperative pooling, and MFIs/BNPLs for last mile de-risking. If we align these actors, strengthen coordination, and embed proven innovations, Kenya can actually unlock the capital required, not only closing gaps, but becoming a continental leader in sustainable mobility financing. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. It's nice to see all the faces here. When you organize something behind the scenes, you feel proud when it finally comes together. And I see Mudhoni here and Elijah working behind the scenes also. From JZ, Promotion of Electric Mobility in Kenya project, we are funded by BMZ, the Federal Ministry of Economic Cooperation from the Germany side. And our interest as an organization, of course, is to support this transition of e-mobility within the country. And we've been in discussion with EMAK and other players, and we feel that financing is a key issue that needs to be addressed. So I hope we will have like tangible outputs from every one of you today and take something that we can take forward to be able to actualize and think more what needs to be done within the space of e-mobility. And I also recognize the presence of the Ministry of Transport. I've seen Justo somewhere in the audience because we supported the development of the e-mobility policy. And when you look at the implementation framework for that policy, one of the key areas that needs to be addressed is the financing of e-mobility. So I wish you the rest of this good session for the rest of the day. I'm going to be speaking later on what we want when it comes to also like developing a platform where we can have all the information together, what is happening in the space. Because without information, investors don't know where to start. People need to know where to begin, what is happening in the ecosystem and all that. So in summary, because I said I'm going to keep it short, think of a one-stop shop for e-mobility information for Kenya. So basically that's what we want to do. If the PowerPoint can start. Yeah. But again, to introduce myself, for those who are not here in the morning, my name is Carol Motiso. I work for Promotion of Electric Mobility in Kenya projects. It's GIZ in short. The German name is long, Deutsche Gesellschaft für internationale Zusammenarbeit. And we've been working with EMAK on different areas, and this is one of the topics that we are venturing in. And it's not working. Click for the next one. Yeah. This is just a cliche approach to say what we are doing as GIZ. We're in the business of reducing emissions in the transport sector. And I like the gentleman in the morning who was talking about the government talking about reducing emissions from the transport sector, but what exactly can we do? From where we stand, electric mobility is one of the solutions to decarbonize the transport sector. Next one. So these are the action fields, just to give you like a brief, short overview of the project. We are supporting the government to put together different strategies, regulations, and standards around e-mobility within the country. That's the first component. So that's why I was talking about the e-mobility policy in the morning. There's a lot of work we are doing around charging infrastructure, putting in place like the guidelines and standards to support that area. And if I can mention, we're also supporting the Nairobi County government to put in place charging infrastructure framework for the county. So be on the lookout, that is coming your way very soon. And then the second component, we are looking at institutional capacities, where we are developing a curriculum for e-mobility. And what we are doing here is also like talking to stakeholders to link the public and private sector industry to bridge the conversation for e-mobility. And now for the other two components is piloting, and the other one is for supporting electrification for BRT. But I want to dwell on the second one. If you could click next 2 times. Again, this is just an overview. If you have not seen the e-mobility policy, I know there's a draft somewhere on the ministry website. Go have a look and see what it says when it comes to the different areas of implementation. So for the e-mobility platform, if we can do a digital platform where all the information of e-mobility is anchored, we will be addressing the issue of providing information across the different policy areas, supporting the implementation for e-mobility in Kenya. And then just to reiterate what I've been saying, our vision really is to align the e-mobility efforts that are ongoing. From where we sit as GIZ, we have like a facilitation role because we work with the government on one side. we have you as industry on the other arm. So we want to bring all the pockets of information together and for it to be accessible from one platform. Because right now, you can attest, whoever is an investor, when you're coming to put in place like a company or you want to invest something within the e-mobility space, you don't know where to start. You've had there's some requirements that are required maybe from EPRA, there's a requirement maybe from NEMA or any other institution. So if we could align all the efforts, I'm sure we'll make the ecosystem very attractive for more investors. Yeah, so that is just to repeat what I've been saying again. And that is some of the information and where we need your support. We've been talking about collaborating, and what does it look when it comes to this? We'll need information from you because you are the owner of the information. If you go to NTSA and you ask them the number of registered electric vehicles, maybe they have a different figure than what you already have in your companies. So it would be good to harmonize that kind of information within the country. And then from what we are seeing in terms of awareness of electric mobility in Kenya, there's the myths, and we've been talking about the risks that are real and the perceived risks. So this will be like an avenue to debunk some of the misconceptions that are out there regarding EVs. But anyway, the next slide was about what information will be needed. So I think through EMAK, the information will come your way as industry players, what we can be able to put together as an industry. So this is just a call to action, a call to collaboration. When you're asked for information, kindly share. It's for our benefit, all of us. If you want the policymakers to make informed decisions, you have to provide with them with data so that people can know what the space actually looks like. And for that, Brannis, let me not take more time for the next panel. And thank you for listening.
Hello, everyone. How are you? Home time, home time, home time. Home time. Okay, so we're going to do this activity together because everyone contributed either at lunch, as a panelist, as someone who discussed. So we have, it's exactly, let me see, my clock. I don't know about other people's clocks. It's 5:05. I want us out by 5:15. But before we leave an ambitious target, every row, as part of collaboration, every row, I want you to talk to everyone on your row. I won't force you to get a number, but I'll force you to know their name. And then what happens is when I come to your row, randomly, you tell me what's the one pain point as a row you have to decide. Yeah, I know everyone has their own issues. If I give a list, we'll have 1,000 issues. But as take home, and that's usually the challenge, we also do a report as well. And we're going to include everything generally, but then at the end of the day, it's always getting the highlights. And then usually they come out. So you have 3 minutes. 3 minutes. I'm hoping you had lunch together or met at the washroom or something. 3 minutes. So as a row, your people in a row. So I'm hoping there's no row where someone is seated alone. Know your friend's name. And then when I come to your row, one issue, you all agree on one issue. We can't have 2 issues, and there's no end, and there's nothing like adding on to. Then we just pack the mic. Then I'll talk about the report. Some rows. And there's nothing like your colleagues. 3 minutes are up. No, 2. Okay. 5:08. 1 more minute. He's ready here. 1 minute, yeah. I'll usher you in. That's nice. 5:07. All right, so time is up. Time is up. So let's see if people kept to the instructions. Time is up. You'll finish after. You had a whole lunch. No, stop. You're done. 5:08, guys. We're going home. All right. 30 more seconds. All right. Thank you. Thank you, all of you. So, first person, what's your friend's name? What's her name?
She's my friend and she's my colleague also.
Okay. So no help there. All right.
Her name is Faith. Can I get your attention, please?
Yes. Hello.
Hello.
To the front now. Her name is Faith. The lady seated next to him. Okay.
Please allow me to not respect the rules for this exercise. I want to give a feedback as DRC attending this session. And as I told, it was really impressive. So I want to thank EMAK, thank GIZ for organizing these sessions, because I'm going back with a lot of knowledge. Okay. And my few points, let's say key learnings that I can raise is, first of all, we need a strong government and government engagement to help this e-mobility transition move forward. And second point is about shared infrastructures, the last panel. Okay. And I also understand that we need to bring strong knowledge, because most of the time for the bank's eyes, we are not able to bring money just because we are lacking information. And different users need to understand that as a banker, we need more information to bring money in the industry.
Someone is complaining you're finishing their points.
And there is someone helped me to see that for DRC, we don't need to start as value chain V1. We have to start 2.0 or 2.2, something like that, to have different people attending different points of the value chain. And finally, for the financing, I will say, as Steve said early in the morning, as a bank, we cannot finance alone this e-mobility transition. We really need to be innovative with, let's say, hybrid financing, including all other finance structure. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's make this interesting. No, let it not go behind. Takers, let's do this. All right. Your friend's name? Whichever, whoever.
Okay, thank you. My name is Lewis. So we came up with our own regard, or rather, which are the government incentives coming into with ideas, or rather collateral with the given into EMAKs. So this incentive whereby upbrought or bringing up into collaterals with the given utilities or based of interest. I think the collateral or collection of point of view will bring up one alignment whereby the invest or bring up focusing on the transport sector as a market which is operating well into the Kenyan market. Well, government incentive, creating awareness upon this, how do I keep it? A friend, assistive.
Okay. I have 4 more minutes, 3 actually.
No, I think what we discussed was that the issue of collaboration is very key. Okay. And we had other points of government incentives, but government incentive will only come at the foundation of collaboration. So collaboration will birth so many things, so it will be good for players in the e-mobility sector to come together so that they speak with one voice and they can be listened to. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That's an amazing one. At the back, you get your shining moment. Which back? That's good.
Yes, my name is Zach from Ampersand. Together with my team here, we can deliberate on the government policies for affordability.
Okay.
Yep. It was something that was mentioned early in the morning, that there are some barriers that are hindering the end consumer from affording, getting to the EV bikes.
Okay.
So if these policies are amended, they can assist and get the product out there to assist the community.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you. Another bag. All right. It's home time. I will not plague anyone. Next.
So this back just had two things, taxes and Kenya Power.
Okay. Any specific thing, one on each?
I guess it's the process. The process, like the way you say, they have done nice things, but the process is so hard.
Okay.
And when I say it's hard, it's because you find the guy who will come do the assessment is different from the guy who will do the quotation, who is different from the guy who will come do the installation of the cable, different from the guy who will bring the smart meter, different from the guy who is doing commissioning.
Okay.
So you find that process, yes, they've done a good job, but then now how we are experiencing it is totally different. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. No row left behind. Yeah, there was a panel. Oh, sorry. But you are a panelist. If I give you. Okay.
We just wanted to add, I think Sharon and this team here, Millicent and myself and Victor, who stepped out, seems we were in sync. So we said KPLC and Transformer.
All right, thank you. There's a request here. They were ready.
Yeah, our group here discussed about the industry is ahead and moving and ready to move, while the policies are still dragging them ahead. So the industry is ahead, the government is holding them back.
All right, thank you. That's a nice one. This row. Or have I skipped this one? This one. I've something. You all can't look at the front right now. Something.
Thank you. My team and I, we've discussed and we've concluded that at the end of this all, there needs to be collaboration between the public sector and the private sector. The private sector should assist in implementation. They are good at that, while the government provides an enabling environment. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And it's now 5:15. So as I promised, we are finishing. So let me just tell you of a few things that are coming up and what would be best. So thank you to all our partners, Credence, Modoni and team, we are grateful. GIZ, thank you, all of you. You are always on call, on standby, helping us everywhere. So in November, we have another financing conference, this time held by Siemens in collaboration with GIZ. It will be something amazing, a collaboration of exactly what you've already found out here and more. So tune in, stick close to our social network so that you can get the dates and everything that is going to be happening. Next, we have the EMAK Open Day in December. Please come ready to display your bicycles, have conversations on what has been discussed through the year. What have we done well? What is still pending? What are we working towards next year? And then lastly, after this meeting, there's going to be a report published on all the things we've discussed, more like a summary of the highlights of the problems highlighted, the challenges, and what is going on. So with that, I think for me, I'm done, and I'm grateful for all of you. Please, as part of collaboration, part of the challenge I usually have as an EMAK official is that you're seated next to somebody, but then when you want their number, you want I and Elijah to find it out, which makes it very difficult. So if you sat next to someone from KPLC, of course, respect their boundaries. They're going to give you someone to go to. It doesn't mean he's the only one who's doing all the metering in Nairobi. But what it just means is that have a contact. It makes it easier. Otherwise, then these forums are not useful for anyone if you don't end up also getting your contacts. And then another thing is challenges. What we are also experiencing sometimes as council is people have been struggling for months. You claim you're an EMAK member and nobody knows you struggle with certain things. Especially if you've been somewhere where your partner has done it, they already have 10 swapping stations in that area. They already know the criteria, but then here you are unable to get even through the first step Yeah, it doesn't make sense. So with that, thank you all for being here. Thank you all for being a great team and audience, and I will pass it back to Bernice. Thank you all.
Good afternoon. Mine's very quick. A big thank you to GIZ for supporting this. Thank you, Carol. A big thank you to EMAK and Elijah, who has worked so hard behind the scenes. A big thank you to Credence, both of whom are outside. And a big thank you to you. So please high five your neighbor. Again, we fed you, so you must high five. Otherwise, we'll start doing chicken dances here. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. You've been given the way forward and the next steps. Be on the lookout on all social platforms. You'll see what is happening. One last question before we leave. Who got a new number today? Fantastic. Then our job here is done, right? Final quote, an African quote: if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with people. I'm glad we have such sessions to go together. And so, like someone said earlier, we can only make this dream become a reality. Asanteni sana, have a lovely evening. Tea is served right outside. And please mingle, there's traffic, so don't rush anywhere. Just enjoy the evening. Thank you.
Look, I think the Credence team has done a great job wrapping things up. Thanks, Alice, as well. There's been a lot of thanks, but a lot of thanks are due, again, to Credence, to GIZ, to all of you. I hope this is a beginning of a continued fruitful dialogue. I do want to plug again the Siemens Foundation event. It's November 6th, is that right? Hopefully we have just as good of a turnout, and we just continue to build on this dialogue, yeah? So thanks a lot. Really love the discussion, and look forward to seeing more of you. Thank you.